Local programming on KRWG Public Media made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you.
This is KRWG Public Media, TV, radio, online. News that matters. Now, across the Mesilla Valley and the borderland, the stories that shape our community. From the KRWG Broadcast Center at New Mexico State University, this is Newsmakers.
Up front this week, a big investment for downtown Las Cruces. Almost $2 million is on the way from a special fund designed to help build an area that's seen a lot of changes over the last decade. What's in store now? In depth, here's Madison Staten.
Over $1.8 million is being allocated by the Las Cruces Tax Increment Development District Board for downtown projects. From that fund, $1.5 million is being allocated for the Amaworo Hotel restoration. Jennifer Morrow, the city's engineering administrator, says now that a historic evaluation report has been completed, the next step is conducting a structural report on the property.
To do those structural reports, we need to have about 1.5 to 2 million, and that is why we are here before the board, because that is what we're looking for, is money for us to be able to get those reports completed.
According to the TID resolution, the entire Amaworo Hotel restoration is estimated to cost $9 million. Over $200,000 in grants and donations, as well as over $777,000 in legislative capital outlay funding, has already been received. Heather Pollard, president of the Amaworo Hotel Foundation, says additional funding could come from being designated a National Historic Landmark.
That will open a lot of funding sources for us. Once you get that designation, there are funding sources, large grants all over the United States from corporations and private companies.
Councillor Tessa Beta-Stuvi indicated her full support for the Amaworo Hotel project, noting that an investment needs to be made to ensure safety.
My main concern is making sure that at least the exterior of the building is safe, and also appealing as much work as we're doing in the downtown. We want to make sure that we're not subtracting any of that aesthetic value as well.
Councillor Gil Sorg also voiced his support, noting the historic nature of the Amaworo property.
I'm thinking in my mind this could even possibly be a national monument. I wouldn't rule it out. So we get it all fixed up, maybe we'll go for that too. If we need more money, I would say I'm in favor of having it done and taken out of the TID.
Other TID projects include a $200,000 redesign of Combo Street. $45,000 is also being set aside to install data tracking signs to help gather information on pedestrian traffic. An additional $50,000 will go towards sound equipment for arts and cultural events. The Renovate Main Street program, which matches money for business improvement, is set to receive $50,000. Funding to install shade structures within the Plaza de Las Cruces was the only proposed TID project not approved by the board. Originally estimated to cost around $993,000, the required budget to complete the project is now approximately $1.3 million due to increased labor and materials costs. While Councillor Cassandra Gondra ultimately voted with the rest of the board to delay funding, she stressed it's still a priority.
I'm anxious to get it up. I think there are folks that feel very strongly that this needs to get up. I mean, I've been on council 6 years, so I think I'm advocating for it to be up. But if I hear, a strong let's wait and see what the market looks like, I'm also willing to hear that.
The $1.3 million is money Councillor Joanna Bencomo says could be better invested in other areas.
I may be in the minority on the council, but to me, a small business incubator feels significantly important right now as we enter this sort of post-pandemic world. We're still in a pandemic. I'm not entirely sure we're in a post-pandemic, but as businesses begin to recover, as people who perhaps started home-based businesses in the last year and a half, that to me seems incredibly important.
The city is currently exploring the legality of dedicating TID money to a business incubator. More information on the incubator is expected to be presented to the council at the next TID meeting in October. For KRWG Public Media, I'm Madison Staten.
My guest today is the writer-in-residence at Western New Mexico University, but he has two other titles at WNMU. We will get to that in a moment. We welcome back to Newsmakers JJ Amaworo Wilson. JJ, it is great to have you with us. For folks who are not familiar, tell us about your role as writer-in-residence at WNMU.
Well, firstly, Fred, it's great to be back on the program. Great to see you again. Thank you ever so much for inviting me. As writer-in-residence, my primary role, of course, is to write and to publish. But I also do a number of other things. I meet with students to help them improve their writing. I meet with faculty members to help them get their work published. I judge competitions. I organize literary events. Organize things like readings and book launches, all kinds of things. And at the moment, I'm co-chair of Southwest Word Fiesta, which I know we'll talk about that a little later, but that's also part of my role as writer-in-residence.
Outstanding. So, yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you. I was just going to say, I'm kind of like a cheerleader for all things literary at the university. Yeah.
Well, I am ready to hear more about so much, because there's so much that's happened since the last time we talked a number of years ago. You also now have a new role as editorial director for the Mimbrus Press at Western New Mexico University. This is a new press, it's a new organization, and a new role for you. So tell me about it.
Well, it's an act of great optimism in these times that are difficult for publishers. But Western New Mexico University is dedicated to increasing the intellectual capacities, to bringing out intellectual and cultural elements, particularly of the Southwest. And so we thought that having our own press would be a vehicle for this, publishing great research, publishing works of fiction, works of history, and works about nature, the natural world. So we're just about to start it up. Mimbrus Press goes live in September, and as editorial director, I will be in charge of acquiring manuscripts, also setting in motion our own ideas for books. And we're going to represent the whole of the Southwest region. Anything that's of interest in the Southwest, we're going to try and publish. And of course, like all university presses, we'll try and maintain the highest of standards in terms of content, writing, editorial, everything.
Well, I'm sure we'll be talking more about that in the years ahead. Very exciting news. I understand that the first publication is from a Silver City author.
It is. It's a poetry collection called The Algorithm of I. It's written by a magnificent poet called Jack Crocker. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful book. You just have to read it. It's just full of great poems that go through his whole life. He started out in the Deep South, and it's just a wonderful book. And that will come out in September.
I'll look for my copy in the mail so that we can get we can get on that. Well, speaking of new books, JJ, I understand that you have a new novel that's coming out in September as well.
I do. It's called Nazaré, Nazare. It's all about the toppling of a dictator. It's really a peasant's revolt led by a homeless kid and a washerwoman. It has elements of magical realism. It's set in this kind of non-existent wonderland, but it's kind of quite a revolutionary book, basically all about this dictator who this young boy and this washerwoman attempt to topple. It's a lot of fun, I hope. It's published by PM Press, and it comes out also in September.
Tell me about your process, how you choose a story to write, and then how you develop it. This is really fascinating to somebody like me who just deals in nonfiction all the time, although that can be stranger than fiction, as they say.
Yes. Quite often, the inspiration comes from something you see, just one little thing, or something you hear on the news, something you read. And in my case, for this novel, it was actually the Arab Spring, which was a decade ago. Hearing about the Arab Spring and what the people were doing to topple their dictators in Egypt, in Tunisia, all those countries. So the novel in my head has been brewing, this novel has been brewing for 10 years. But of course, generally, as a writer, you're always on the lookout for interesting little stories. You go around the world and your day-to-day life with very open eyes. And you're just looking for things that interest you and spark off your imagination. It's a beautiful way to live. And of course, if something really does spark your imagination, you end up writing and writing and writing about it.
JJ, I have to ask you this question because I wondered about it just now in your answer there. Living in such a dynamic place as we do, close to the border, and meeting so many interesting people, you're one of the very interesting people I've had a chance to meet in my career, and that's inspirational to me. Is that inspirational to you as a writer of fiction, that your own environment as well, and the people you meet?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, it's the people you meet. It's also the mixture of cultures here. I live in Silver City in New Mexico. New Mexico generally is just a fascinating place because of all the Hispanic and Mexican influence. Then you have the sort of cowboy influence. Then you have the indigenous influence. And this kind of mezcla, as we'd say in Spanish, is just fascinating to me. And whenever cultures meet, something new is produced, and it's just something new and interesting. So absolutely, I would agree with you completely, Fred. But also another inspiration is the Gila itself, the Gila wilderness. If ever you want to get out and see nature, we're right in the middle of it here, and that's always inspiring to me, at least.
It certainly is. I took a trip and finally made it out to the catwalk, that long drive out from Silver City, and what a beautiful place that is, and need to get back out there as the trees begin to change color and experience our beautiful nature. As if you are not busy enough, you are also the co-chair of the Southwest Word Fiesta, which is coming to Silver City in October. Give us some highlights of this.
Well, yes, October the 22nd to the 24th, we will have the Southwest Word Fiesta. At the moment, it's planned to be a hybrid event, some face-to-face sessions, but mainly online through Zoom. And we just have, as usual, a load of wonderful, wonderful authors. A few from Las Cruces, Brandon Hobson, a wonderful novelist who teaches at NMSU, the amazing Denise Chavez, Connie Voisin, a wonderful poet based in Las Cruces, Rick Bass, who writes fiction and nonfiction. There are so many. We have about 40 authors going to be present. Everything is free. You can find the schedule on our website, which is swwordfiesta.org, swwordfiesta.org, Southwest Word Fiesta. And it's just going to be a wonderful, wonderful event. But even before that, a couple of days before that, we have inaugurated something called Hillerman Day, which honors the work of Tony Hillerman, the famous novelist from Santa Fe, and Anne Hillerman, his daughter, who's also a novelist. And James McGrath Morris, who is Tony Hillerman's biographer, that they will, Jamie and Anne will be presenting their work, the biography of Tony Hillerman and also Anne's new novel. So that'll be, I think that's the 20th, Wednesday the 20th of October. So we have Hillerman Day and then the festival itself. It's just going to be a great week for anyone who loves literature, books, the written word.
Yes, let's hope that we continue to see improvement, more people getting vaccinated, and so that in-person element can continue, something that we miss as well here at KRWG. Looking at the word fiesta and also your work as editorial director of the Mimbrus Press, JJ, give us a sense of developments in the publishing world that are happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's never been easier to publish your own work. So many companies, so many individuals are publishing their own work, and there are so many companies out there facilitating that. But it's never been harder to get noticed, to get reviewed, to make any money even. Because obviously, if you make it published, there are going to be more and more books out there, and it's just harder to get for the quality to rise to the top. I guess you could say. So, in one way, it's wonderful because people who've always wanted to be authors, Fred, they have an opportunity. But for professional writers, I think it's become more and more difficult because the market is flooded. So I guess this is in line with many social trends that things are becoming more democratized because of the internet. So it remains to see how it will play out. But I would say there's some great books being published, great books out there. It's a wonderful world for writers and readers. It's just a little harder for full-time professional writers to make a living, I think.
Interesting. And an element of this that I wanted to ask you about, I saw a story the other day with an expert who predicts that textbooks will become a thing of the past very soon, with everything moving online. Of course, some courses this is already the case. And in the case of non-textbooks, just other books, a lot of folks already read only on devices like Kindles, rather than old-fashioned people like me who like to read on paper once in a while. Where do you see all this going?
I can understand that thought about textbooks, particularly because it's always easier to update things that are online. If you want to update a physical book, you have to produce a new edition, which takes time. Whereas when it's online, you can update things and change things rapidly, as you know. Having said that, I do believe the book will survive in a physical form. I think there are enough people who like the technology of the book. And remember, a physical book is also a type of technology. Thousands of years ago, when books were first arriving, people thought they would never last. But actually, the book is the thing that lasts longest. It doesn't need a power source. You can take it to bed with you very easily. You can take it anywhere. And some people just find a great comfort in holding the physical book. I'm one of them, I must say, but then again, I'm of a certain age. So we'll see how it plays out with the younger generations.
Final words for folks who've heard this, about these changes, advice for someone who may be watching who's thinking about becoming an author or going to school to study with that eventual goal.
My main advice would be this, that all writers begin as readers. You have to read a lot in order to learn how to write. So focus on what you're reading, read prolifically, and then writing is a skill like any other skill. You will only improve if you do it a lot. You know, how do you get good at boxing? You throw a lot of punches, you take a lot of punches. It's the same with writing. You got to do it again and again and again. Don't be frightened of failure. Keep reading, keep writing.
JJ, best of luck with your new role as editorial director of the Mimbrus Press at Western New Mexico University, and helping to bring this wonderful Southwest Word Fiesta to our community. It is always a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you so much, Fred. It's been a pleasure for me too. Thank you.
My name is Frank Martinez, and I am from Jackson, Tennessee. And I just love coming to this festival. Last year when I was driving through, they told me there was a festival going on Labor Day, so I decided to go on vacation during this festival. I'm going to buy some chili peppers and also some chili powder so I can take back to Tennessee, because in Tennessee, they don't have something like this.
We've been coming here for probably 15 years, and we buy about 6 gunny sacks of green chilies, and we take them back to Mesa, and we have our own chili roaster. We get the family together, we roast the chilies, and then we freeze them. We have a dedicated freezer in our garage where we put these chilies every year, and then we all feed off them throughout the year. So that's our trip every year. We enjoy coming here. We enjoy green chilies.
And green chilies make everything better.
Oh yeah, we eat them on everything practically.
Oh, the smell of the chili and the people and the music and the food and the tasting everything.
And all the different things that are made with the chili, the green chili cheeseburgers, and all the different jams and the other things they make with it. That's what we like about it, because green chili goes with everything.
I think it's fun. It's like a little fair, and then you can see the people who like roast it and grow everything, and it's not like a mystery. You're not buying it from a grocery store. You actually see what happens with it. It's hard to get these back home, so, and it's only about a 5-hour drive, so it's not too bad.
Well, we're from El Paso, Texas, and we've been coming up to the Chile Festival, the Hatch Chile Festival, for the last 20 years. It's kind of a yearly family gathering, family outing, if you will. When we come, we get our chile, we get it raw, and then we take it home, and then we roast it on the grill or on the comal in the kitchen in the quantities that we want, that we feel that we need. We like our food spicy. We like it with some zing. We like it with a lot of flavor. And so Chile tends to bring the family together, whether we have a roasting party or whether we've already roasted and, hey, it's time for us to start making some chile rellenos, or, we're going to have some chile con queso with some fresh-made flour tortillas that Grandma made, so come on over.
New Mexico people just love Hatch chili, but we do like people who leave New Mexico or came and visit. They're like, I want New Mexico food. I want to, when I came and visit, I want to have that New Mexico flavor at my house. So we do a lot of mail order. We have sent anything from New York to Alaska to Hawaii and any state in between.
I just love New Mexico and all their chili. The whole state, I just love it.
That's our time for now. Join us this week on KRWG Radio. Every weekday, it's Morning Edition, 5 to 9, Fresh Air at 11, followed by Here and Now, noon to 2, and All Things Considered, 4 to 7. KRWG News is always online at krwg.org, and we would love to hear from you. Email us anytime with story ideas and video submissions. The address is feedback@nmsu.edu. For all of us at KRWG News, I'm Fred Martino. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on Newsmakers.